So I tried out.
Hello, my name's Lisa, and I'd like to welcome you back to my channel. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the dangers of lip fillers. Hopefully, by the end of this, you're going to have a bit more education regarding it than when you first started, if you don't know anything about it. To be honest, there's quite a lot to know. You need to make sure you don't have an allergic reaction. Please don't take shortcuts. We'll get on to more about that during the video. Don't go to people that I consider to be con artists. And to be fair, we have already covered veneer text and LED slash ultraviolet lash text. So today's video is going to be lip filler text, or as I call a lot of them, lip filler bandits. This first video is going to be talking about where you should put the lip filler using the needle method. So if you don't like needles, then look away for 10 seconds. I've really got to say that makes me cringe. It makes my insides go like this, and I'm like, no. The thought of having needles into my lips is not something I've ever really wanted. Yes, I would love nice plump lips, but I've always had thin ones like this, and I've never had this done. And this is why a lot of people go and have the hyaluronic pen technique, but we're going to get onto that later. But for the minute, just the thought of having a needle into my lip is like, no, not for me. Next up, we're going to look at some issues of what can go wrong if you do not do your due diligence and go to the right person in the first place.
Okay, so this is lip filler gone very, very wrong. Unfortunately, I have seen many cases that this happened before where we've had to dissolve and refill the lips. In her case in particular, she's had a very acute hypersensitivity reaction as well. So what I want to try and do now is explain to you a few tips on how to avoid your lips ever looking like that after having a lip filler treatment. So number one is to ensure your practitioner uses the right product for your lips. So everyone's lips are very different. There are thick and thin products, so you want to make sure that conversation's had about what result you want and making sure they put the right amount of filler in your lips and not overfilling them. Your lips can only take so much volume, so if you overfill, they will swell a lot more. The second thing is to ensure that the practitioner is using quite an atraumatic injection technique. There are some techniques like the Russian lip technique, which is extremely traumatic and creates a lot more swelling. Lastly is the aftercare. So the aftercare is super important. I don't want you doing any exercise, putting any makeup on your lips, applying any heat to the lips, as this can all contribute to increased swelling.
The advice from the lady there is why it is so important to go to someone who knows what they're doing, not just putting the fillers in, but knowing the difference between the fillers, which one is going to be most suitable for you, and what you can and can't do after you've had the fillers put in. And knowing where the filler has come from is also very important. I mean, if you just go to anybody who's not trained Like there are people that seem to do everything. They do hair, do skin, they do nails, they do lashes, and now they are adding lips to the mix. Well, none of those people are properly trained to do all of those things. So this is where you really don't want to be cutting costs, because at the end of the day, this is your body and it's the only one you've got. So you really want to look after it and do the best you can for it. Right, so now we've had a little bit of education. Next, we're going to look at what can go terribly wrong if we don't do the things we're told and go to the right people.
So I tried out this new lip injection at this lady's clinic that I went to, and I don't know if I like it.
Why do you think her lips look like this?
They've literally gotten bigger by the second.
Oh dear. So I feel really bad for this girl. I can say that she was really upset here, and I can imagine that was so scary for her. So I want to just discuss what's happening here because I've seen this quite a few times. So I'm an anaesthetic complications expert. I've published papers on things around complications. I'm part of a collaborative as well, a global collaborative. So I've seen pretty much everything that there is to see with dermal fillers. So this is angioedema. This is fluid spreading into the tissues, and that can be caused by many reasons. Number one may be allergy. Number two may be a hereditary disposition to this. Number three may be other drugs can cause it as well. And it can be idiopathic, so a reason that we don't know yet. But in any case, trauma is going to make this worse. So the first thing is not to panic, and this girl needs some steroids to try and bring that swelling down, and sometimes we have to give quite high doses of steroids in this situation. I wouldn't dissolve the lip filler at this point though, because we don't know whether or not this is idiopathic, trauma linked, etc., or whether she has a hereditary disposition. Trauma will make this worse, so I'd be wanting to settle the swelling down with steroids. Once I tapered off the steroids, I would wait to see whether this reoccurred. If it reoccurred, it means that it was an allergy to the filler. If her lips started to swell again on tapering the steroids, I would dissolve the filler. But something that I learned was that it's a common misconception that this is always allergy when there are other reasons why the lips might swell like that. And going straight in to dissolve may not be the right thing for the patient. And actually the trauma might make the swelling worse. And this is why injectables are a medical procedure, because things like this can happen, and when things like this happen, I have a number of questions in my head. I want to speak to the patient and delve more into her clinical history, and also it needs prescription medicines to manage this, but not only any prescription medicines that suppress the immune system. So that in itself comes with risks. So this is why you have to be really careful with who injects you, because they need to be able to assess and manage problems. And it's why I'm so passionate about complications as an area of aesthetic medicine.
If your lips swell up like the people we've just seen, then that is a reaction of some description. So the advice there would be to go and seek medical help, or alternatively, you can go to a fully licensed person who puts in lip fillers and is licensed. I mean, at the end of the day, the way I see it is if you're cutting costs, or that's what you're trying to do by going to these people that are not licensed, then this sort of thing can happen. And that is the risk you're taking. And then you would still have to pay to go to somebody else to get this sorted out. So you're not actually saving money, are you? Now, I know that what happened there doesn't happen to everybody, but there is a chance if they inject the wrong stuff into your lips that obviously that can happen. And then you would still have to go to somebody to get what's been injected into your lips removed. So we're going to now look at a lady who has had the filler removed from her lips. If you don't like seeing bruising, then look away for 10 seconds now, because that's what she's going to be showing us. It took 3 weeks for all of that bruising to go away on that young lady, which is a long time, isn't it? And as she said on the screen in that video, it hurts 100 times more to have the filler removed than it did to have it injected in. So take that into consideration as well. Right, now we're going to move on to the other method of having lip fillers with the hyaluronic pen. Many people go for that option specifically because they don't want, like me, a needle pushed into their lip. And that I understand why they would do it this way. But what you've got to think about is this pen was not designed to put lip filler into you. That's not what it was designed for. But anyway, we're going to see what happens to people that do it that way. In this first video, we are going to be seeing a lash tech. So someone that normally puts on fake eyelashes doing some training on how to use the hyaluronic pen. Not something I recommend personally to go to. Just seeing the filler being shot into the fake lips there, we could actually see that it went into the lip a whole lot further than it did when we were watching the injections. And even though her lips were a lot bigger, to me they looked very lumpy, and that's not how they're supposed to look. Did they look lumpy to you in the pictures she was showing us?
This is needle-free lip filler. It uses pressure to inject the filler directly into the lip. Now this is something I advise against since you don't get proper placement of the filler. Here you can see this model's lip is actually lumpy and bumpy on the upper lip. I had a patient like this come in today with this exact same issue. Here's a picture of my patient's lips. You can see the filler was very superficially placed, creating all these small blebs. To resolve these blebs, I made a superficial hole with the sterile needle and actually squeezed out the filler. Here you can see me using the 2 Q-tips and small amounts of filler coming out. Remember, you get what you pay for. It's not safe to avoid a healthcare provider just for the cost. You don't know what people are injecting in their basements or what the outcomes are going to be.
As the guy said there, be careful who you go to and make sure they know what they're doing, because things can still go wrong even though you've not had anything placed into your lips with a needle. So let's have a look at a couple more videos of where things have gone wrong and the type of things that can happen.
If you're going to have any filler done, please make sure it's something that can be reversed or breaks down naturally, like a hyaluronic acid filler. This is a silicone filler which cannot be broken down and has to be removed surgically.
When the lip filler goes wrong or it's not put into your lip by someone who's qualified, we could see there that you would be allergic to it and it would swell up huge, or you would have those little tiny bumps everywhere, which obviously don't look very good, do they? So you had two options with that. You could either have to have it surgically removed, which would be extremely painful because then they'd be stitching up the lips afterwards. There was a video on that, but I'm not going to put that in here because it was, yeah, it made me want to throw up. So I'm not going to do that to you as well. Or you could have it squeezed out with the Q-tips like that guy was showing us. And even though that lady had the procedure done with the hyaluronic pen, she still ended up with really bruised lips. So just because you're not having a needle doesn't mean you're not going to have the bruising. I really feel that we have to stop just letting anybody do things to us. Because, as I said previously, cutting costs can be a false economy. Because when it goes wrong, we're still going to have to go to someone to get it sorted out. So please, please, please go to the right people if you're going to have anything like this done. Me personally, after all these videos that I've made about all the things that go wrong, I'm just going to stick with what God gave me. Whether people like it or not, I don't care. I would rather know that I am safe and healthy than have all these enhancements to make me into the person that's not really me. I mean, where do you draw the line is my question. Where does it end? Well, for me, it ends at the beginning because I'm never going to have it done. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope it's been educational for you. If it has, please hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and press the notification bell so you know when the next video comes out. Ta-ta for now.